What's going on, guys? Welcome to another episode of Smash JT. GameStop is shutting down their stupid NFT project that was failed from the start. I don't know why they thought this was a good idea. It was something that no one that I know of thought that it was going to work out. Nobody I knew was on board with it. NFTs are a bad thing, especially for the video game industry, and we've come full circle to them, a corporate entity, now figuring out what everyone has been telling them all along. Hit that subscribe, give me a like, and check out SmashJT.com for my full article breaking down this entire situation. GameStop became quite popular a couple years ago during the meme stock rise, making a lot of people a lot of money, and it's something that I personally was invested in. Those of you who have been around the channel for a while may know that I'm even in a documentary talking about it called GameStop Rise of the Players, streaming now on Hulu. Check it out if you haven't already. But as far as this is concerned, let's talk about GameStop getting rid of these stupid NFTs. GameStop is closing their NFT Marketplace after just 18 months of being around. GameStop, the company known for buying and selling and trading video games and giving people very little money for their games, has seen quite a rise in their stock over the past few years, but very little of that had anything to do with video games whatsoever. It was more of a meme stock craze that people were betting on a turnaround that never really happened, but they did bank a lot of money. And if you want to look into the financial details of GameStop, it's actually a fascinating story of finance, but nothing at all, really, when it comes down to it, to do with video games. Part of the rise had lots of speculation, and one of those things was diving in on the whole NFT craze back in the day, when everyone seemed to talk about these crazy monkeys on pictures selling for hundreds of thousands of dollars, and nobody could really figure out as to why. I've followed everything that GameStop has done over the past few years because I was fascinated with this story. The closure is being officially attributed to, and I quote, the continuing regulatory uncertainty of crypto. Now, sure, that's good business talk for this is why we're leaving the NFT industry, because we're not sure what the governments of the world are doing with this, and there's so much regulation around it that it's too uncertain for us to base a business around it. But that's always been the case. That's literally nothing's ever changed. NFTs were always very uncertain. There was very little regulation and always threats of great regulation coming in to change that landscape. So obviously this corporate speak from GameStop is just that. It's not the reality. We all know what the truth is, but it's too embarrassing for them to say it in a public statement. GameStop cites regulatory uncertainty as the reason for the closure. But those of us who've been following the NFT market closely know there's much more to the story. The blatantly obvious reality is not so much about regulatory concerns as it is about the market for NFTs drying up. The Guardian posted an article, research from September 2023 suggested a startling decline in the NFT market, with around 95% of all NFTs ever minted being worth absolutely nothing. Try to wrap your head around that one. GameStop was trying to create a marketplace for NFTs to make money off of them when the overwhelming majority of them are not just worth very little, but are literally worth nothing. Imagine the overhead, the cost for trying to run a marketplace for everything, and then trying to figure out what's worth a few pennies, and what's worth nothing, and what's worth more than a few pennies. It wasn't something that GameStop themselves was cut out for, nor did I think they ever intended to do much with this. It was more of a speculation of, if NFTs become the next monetary system, a way to transact with others, avoiding dollars, avoiding currency. If you could just use pictures with each other to trade, to get stuff, it was a way to get around taxes, government, regulation, really shady areas of the market. Let's be honest here. Now, ultimately, I saw the NFTs with GameStop as a potential. If they were to use the blockchain system with NFTs and minting specific items in-game and having a marketplace for them to buy and sell, just like they do with used games, to do that with used in-game clothing. Like if you could own an item that you purchased in-app, and then you could say, you know what, I don't really play that game anymore, let me put it on this marketplace. GameStop would take a portion of that, a percent, and you'd make a little bit of money back. That way you don't have to feel like you're just sinking money into DLC content and microtransactions without being worth anything in the long run. So yes, I do see how NFTs could have been potentially a big gold rush for GameStop, but it didn't turn out that way. And this marketplace ended up just being a monkey picture after monkey picture worth nothing. And I know I'm boiling it down to a monkey picture, but let's be honest, Bored Ape is what most people know the NFTs to be. For those who are unfamiliar, NFTs are a unique, non-interchangeable unit of data stored on a blockchain. They enable the ownership, buying, and selling of digital goods, such as in-game items or artwork. Like I'm saying, there was a potential if done right, but it's like threading the impossible needle. You need literally everything to go right. You need companies to join your cause. You need everyone to be on board with this for it to work. And GameStop felt like they were just kind of throwing a dime in a wishing well and saying, let's hope this NFT project takes off. Let's partner with some of these blockchains. Let's partner with some of these cryptos, and let's see if something happens without actually doing the work required to make something happen. Despite the growth and the interest from various video game companies, the format has faced significant criticism, mostly YouTubers, but definitely not limited to. Concerns ranging from the high carbon footprint associated with NFTs to what many perceive as a cynical implementation in the gaming industry. Or even worse, this is something that, yes, the perfect scenario, or if all the stars align, the example that I gave previously where you buy an in-game shirt and then you want to sell it to someone else, if everything flows with that perfectly, great. The problem with that is you got to expect eventually that corporate greed is going to find its way into it, and these executives are going to try to microtransaction the hell out of an NFT and try to make it as bad as possible on the consumer, because technically you wouldn't own it, they'd own a portion of it, and they'd try to get their hands in there, and that's what everyone ultimately was afraid of. GameStop's closure of the NFT marketplace is a telling sign of the times. It reflects a broader trend away from the crypto space. And yes, while crypto is coming back, especially Bitcoin, it still has not reached the heights that it did a couple years ago, and it's way more uncertain now than I can ever remember it being in the past. This pivot follows their ending of their own support for their own crypto wallet that they announced back in 2023. Almost like GameStop saw the writing on the wall, and that was their initial exit from the space, and now this is the final death knell to it. Ironically, as we've seen in the past, after corporate kind of gets out of this space, it's when it starts to go back up again, because people don't want corporate interests intersecting with the NFT market. They want it to be a free space for all. I don't love the ideas of NFTs, but I do see a potential use for them if implemented properly. Again, though, that's the biggest concern. And if it can't be implemented properly, or if human greed keeps interjecting itself every time it gets going, it will never work the way it should. I never was fully on board with this NFT project from GameStop, but I did hold out a little bit of hope that maybe the off chance that the stars aligned, that the NFT marketplace would take off and GameStop would see their new business go from buying and selling used games to buying and selling used NFTs. There was a argument to be made for that, and clearly it didn't work out the way they expected to. The initial boom was just not sustained the way anyone thought it could have been. And looking back in retrospect, it's kind of obvious, like something like that just isn't sustainable. GameStop's decision to shut down their NFT marketplace isn't surprising. In fact, looking at it now, it's pretty much expected. Even the way they go about saying, oh, because of regulatory concerns and uncertainty, even though we all know that's BS, the real truth is NFTs just aren't worth anything at all, and they're losing more money than they're making trying to create a marketplace for something that doesn't even have a market for it anymore. That's the truth, and obviously they're not going to put that out in a press release, but we all know that's what's really happening behind the scenes. I'm going to leave it there, though. If you want more information or all the links of everything that I talked to, check out smashjt.com. I will link my article in the description below. Thank you so much for watching. Also, check out GameStop Rise of the Players, streaming now on Hulu. Thank you so much for watching, and as always, you stay smashing. Smash,